We have been told by society that with great power comes great responsibility. That's actually wrong. It's the other way around. Society has got it backwards. Sometimes when you give somebody a great deal of power, they become irresponsible. That's not correct. With great responsibility comes great power. One of the questions I get asked most is, why is my relationship such a mess? And can you give me any advice on how to fix it? Okay, let's look at why our relationships are in deep trouble most of the time. My name is Amit, and I'm an author and a self awareness teacher. And today we are going to talk about three main reasons why our relationships are a complete mess. Okay, the first reason, when I have conversations with people about why the relationship is not going the way they expected it to, I always ask them this simple question, which is, what was your state of mind before you entered this relationship? First one, the state of mind you were in before you entered the relationship. And in many cases, the reality is that we are not in the right state of mind to get into the relationship. We are in the state of mind where we were hurt by somebody else, we were angry, we were feeling a deep void after that person left us, and we were really desperate to be in another relationship because we love to be held, we love to be taken care of, we love to have that companionship from somebody. And so, in that state of desperation, deficiency, what happens? Anyone who comes along in my life and says, I find you extremely interesting, I find you attractive, I think we have a great connection, I think we have a great chemistry. What do? We say, okay, maybe this is universe telling me that I need to be with this person instead of the previous person, and this would be a great opportunity for me to perhaps show that I can be in a relationship whenever I want. And so, from all these confused states of being, we enter a relationship. And what happens? Of course, we run into problems. Why? That brings us to the second reason. The reason why we run into problems is because, in that state of mind, when we are insecure, when we are looking for help, when we are looking for assistance from outside, we become attached to the first source of security we find. What does that mean? Which means, when I outsource my source of security to you, when you become the source of my security, I start depending on you. When I have all these stories to tell you, when you listen to me, when you say it's going to be all right, and how things are going to get better, and when you try to help me with my problems, I slowly start depending on you for my security. You are solving the problems I need to be solving for myself. Understand? Which means, when I outsource my sense of security to you, I become attached to you. That's the second reason. First reason is a wrong state of mind. Second reason is becoming attached to the person we are in the relationship with. What happens because of attachments? Attachments are formed when somebody else becomes a source of your security. That much is simple. But then something else begins, which is, I have to make this person keep doing the things that they have been doing for me. I want them in my life to be listening all the time. I want them to spend time with me. I want them to go on dates with me. I want them to buy things for me. I don't want them to spend time with their friends. I don't want them to be engaged constantly in the things that bring them joy, whether it's uh, playing video games or hanging out with their friends, or whether it's reading, or whether it's practicing a certain passion or a hobby they have, whatever skill they have. So, whatever it is that takes them away from me, I cannot tolerate. See, which means my attachments now create expectations. See, so first I was in the wrong state of mind, which is why I made you a source of attachment, source of security. Now I get attached to you. And once I'm attached to you, I constantly expect you to keep doing things for me. Sounds familiar? And what happens when they don't do those things? Expectations are, of course, perceived by our partners as threats to their way of being. And when somebody perceives a threat, they erect a defensive wall. They say, I don't want to be doing this for you anymore. I feel uncomfortable doing this. They create boundaries and this and that. And that makes us even more upset. So, attachments create expectations. Expectations, when not fulfilled, create suffering and fear. See? So, these are the main two reasons. What is the third reason? This brings us to the third reason, which is we have this great misunderstanding about the purpose of a relationship. When we are in a relationship in this state of mind, our partners constantly keep triggering us. They constantly make us angry for some reason or the other. In reality, we don't have real relationship problems at all. What we have is self understanding problems. The main purpose of a relationship is not to make you happy, is not to give you pleasure of companionship, physical pleasures, sexual pleasures, to show the world that I am with somebody. That is not the main purpose of a relationship. But when we misunderstand that to be the purpose of a relationship, that I must always be with somebody and therefore I need somebody in my life, what happens? What happens is that person keeps triggering me and keeps highlighting areas in my life which I am not yet fully aware of. So, a trigger, which is me getting angry at a small thing, me getting upset over a trivial issue, is a sign that there is something within me that I haven't fully examined yet. Make sense? So, the reason why this relationship exists is to point out the gap between my self understanding and what I need to have to be in this relationship. When I'm not fulfilling my partner's needs, my partner is not fulfilling my needs, there is this gap and discord and suffering. And this triggering is highlighting this gap, that it is not they who need to change, but I who need to change. I who need It is me who needs to observe my own thoughts, my own patterns, my own unresolved suffering from my past relationship, my own stuff from my own childhood. I need to examine those things, which is why the relationship keeps triggering me. The goal of a relationship is not pleasure, the goal of a relationship is to share peace with your partner. The goal of a relationship is peace. And until I have that peace, the relationship keeps causing me suffering because I keep looking for some sort of pleasure, me centric pleasure from my partner. And every single time I look for a me centric pleasure from somebody, they feel upset. They feel restricted to be in my presence. Why do you have such a great relationship with your friends? Ask yourself. Because with your friends, you don't have heavy expectations from, which is why it is so easy to be with our best friends. Because our best friends don't expect anything from us, we don't expect anything from them, and there is this easy existence. Always there is humor, there is sharing, there is speaking freely, whatever is on our mind. Why can't we have that in our relationships? Because of expectations. Because we might say something which is wrong, or they might say the wrong thing. See, and then there will be a fight, there will be a quarrel. So, a relationship is meant to really highlight those areas within you. That doesn't mean we should never get into a relationship before we are fully resolved. But we should know that whatever is happening in our current relationship, whatever is the source of suffering, it is not the other person. It is my own interpretation of what they are doing to me. And that interpretation is always tied to the areas of my own personality, the areas of my own behavior, my own thought processes, which I haven't examined fully. Make sense? So, the solution is what? The solution is, firstly, if you're not currently in a relationship, do not get into one unless you're in the right state of mind. And it is quite simple to figure that out. You intuitively know whether you are in the right state of mind or not. You just ask yourself, do you believe you are in the right state to begin this new relationship. And a part of you will say no. And a part of you will say, but they are so attractive. But I need somebody in my life right now to share my thoughts. And that's the wrong time to get into a relationship. Because if you're insecure, you're going to depend on them. See? So, when are you ready to be in a relationship? When you don't have any intention or any spontaneous feeling that you want to share the problems of your previous relationship with your new partner, with your prospective partner. If the first thing you share is, hey, I'm getting out of this thing and this is what happened and this is what's on my mind right now, you are in the wrong place. Your past should not easily come up. If your past is easily coming up, you are in the wrong state of mind to begin a relationship. And what to do if you are already in a relationship? Does it mean you should now leave this person by telling them, hey, I need to work on myself, so get out of my life? That's not correct either, because that would be unfair to them. Okay. So now what to do? Now what we need to do is observe our own mind, examine our own insecurities, and see how our insecurities are being triggered by them, and expressing our insecurities, telling the areas in about which telling them about the areas in which we are insecure, and not making them responsible for it, but telling them, hey, this is what I'm working on, this is what I'm observing in myself. So if I may lose my composure, if I may lose my peace, if I lose my temper, it is because I have been triggered, and it is because I'm dealing with this particular insecurity or fear I have within myself. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is recognize that this is what I'm going through, and observe what they are going through as well. So when they are processing something and they are having an outburst or an emotional display, you also recognize that they are going through something. So this way, you're already easing the tension in the relationship and figuring out what it is that you need to understand about yourself, what it is that you need to understand about your own childhood, what it is that you need to understand about your own past behavior in your own past relationships, which keeps creating a certain pattern over and over again. And for the first time, or for the nth time, because we have to do this repeatedly, make you responsible for your own life and your own emotional security. We have been told by society that with great power comes great responsibility. That's actually wrong. It's the other way around. Society has got it backwards. Sometimes, when you give somebody a great deal of power, they become irresponsible. That's not correct. With great responsibility comes great power. When you take great responsibility for your state of mind, along with it, you are going to receive a tremendous amount of inward power. Because self understanding is the true, the only, and the lasting source of internal power, internal security. That's where it comes from your own self understanding. Makes sense? So, those are the three reasons why our relationships are messy. Hope you enjoyed this video. Um, if you have any questions, put them in the comments below and let me know what other topics you want to see videos on. Thank you for watching.